Hello people, this is Adrian with Ascension Soul Coaching. So I know y'all had a chance, or if you didn't watch the Oprah and Harry, the Me You Can't See video or documentary on Apple TV the other day, I'm sure you probably one of either heard clips or seen clips on YouTube. I didn't watch it at all. I did see clips because I wanted to just get a basis of what he was going to talk about. Now I do want to go back to one of the readings I had about 2 weeks ago when I talked about Meghan and how the best way to stop them is to chip away at their plans. And one of the things I think that just happened was that William, when he came out and did his little interview or his little speech about his mother and the BBC broadcast interview on his mother, he came out and he talked about what the BBC had done and how it had affected his family. Listen, if you notice, he did it the day before Harry's documentary is supposed to come out. So I think that the palace is starting to take on a little bit of the Markle's tactics in chipping away at their publicity and at their publicity stunts. And Thursday, when he came out and he did his interview, they probably knew weeks in advance what the results were going to be, and they waited before the day before Harry's documentary with Oprah came out that night to do the recorded speech that William gave. And if you notice the difference between how William talked about the situation and how Harry's press release was, you can see the dichotomy of the two. William came out presented as though he was the potential future king that he's going to become, and he handled it with dignity. And it was more about his mother. It's more about his mother and what happened to her than what happened to him. And yes, of course, he mentioned that it affected the mother's relationship with the father and the other people in the family. However, if you notice, Harry talked more about, it's the press, and the press is so evil, and it's, this is what happens, and it's continuing to happen, which is, true. But then he came out in the Oprah documentary and said that the press is not going to stop pounding his wife until she's dead, similar to like what happened to his mother, which is not true. Nobody's running behind Miss Meghan. I haven't seen any paparazzi. Yeah, they write stories about it. I think they've stopped doing that in the British press for the most part because of how they've treated since the Oprah interview and how they talk bad about the British public and the royal family. But no one's running behind Meghan. Nobody's chasing her with cars and cameras. I haven't seen any. If y'all see, let me know. So they are now coming out like the art of war, and they're like, we're gonna be like water. We're gonna be like Meghan and Harry. However, this is the royal family. However, they're not being underhanded. They're not talking bad about anybody. So they're not doing it to be mean. They're just saying, you know what? You don't want to be part of the royal family. That's fine. We are not going to extend to you the same rights and privileges that we would if you were still here or if you still were working royal family. Just like when, was it Eugenie? Whatever, Fergie's daughter announced her pregnancy on Meghan's and Harry's wedding anniversary. Similar to that. Like, there's nothing wrong with it. Pretty much, she could say, we waited a month after my grandfather passed away so we can make the announcement, And it just worked out that was the day we announced it. So it's not really negative, but I think it's pointed. So let's talk more about Harry's interview. He trashed his family again. So I didn't watch the video or the documentary, however, they did see parts of it. So let's talk about what he said. He said that his family, and I'm a paraphrase because I don't have exactly what he said, but he was saying his family woefully was neglectful in helping him and Meghan when Meghan was experiencing her distress when she wanted to kill herself and the issues with the media. So here is what I want to talk about. When you get married, especially as a man to a woman, it is his responsibility to take care of her. He's responsible for her. So that's first thing. Second thing, his family, so the words goes, is that especially William told Harry to slow down, to get to know her better, to make sure she understood what the role was, and Harry didn't want to take that advice. He decided he wanted to go ahead and get married, and they just said, okay, fine, you want to get married to her? We'll make it happen, whatever, right? this is it. We're not going to argue about this. Evidently, it affected their relationship, but the Queen allowed him to continue to go ahead and get married to Meghan. So first of all, we told you to wait. We told you to get to know her. You didn't want to listen. Said you were grown, man, whatever. You could do what you want to do, and you did it. And we were there to support you for the wedding. But it's not their responsibility for your wife's mental issues or distress, because that's evidently comes part of the royal, when you're a senior royal, that happens, especially when you're newbie coming into the family. They're all up for scrutiny when you're the public eye. So he didn't listen. So why should it be the family's responsibility for her mental distress, right? He said in this engagement interview, he told her everything and tried to warn her about everything that was going to happen. So I mean, that's just being, what's the word? That's just being privileged and think that his family's supposed to take care of him. He doesn't have any sense of responsibility, y'all. He really don't. He thinks that everything is for him. He don't have to answer anything. That's the way he grew up. And so he feels like he should still have that privilege. But no, you're a grown man, remember? So you married her. You deal with that. And on top of that, we already know that Meghan was out there putting out her own publicity and putting out her own photo op, so in her own stories. So what were they going to protect her from? Herself? So that's first. So then he said his father, he threw his father. See, when you're in counseling, it's okay to talk to your counselor about these things and how you think and where you think things started from. But to talk to Oprah, who has no background or degree in therapy or counseling or psychology, and to the whole world, we can't help you. You're saying you're doing it because you want to help other people to understand that they can talk, and that mental distress, mental insecurities, mental issues, mental health is important, right? That everything is, that even if you're experiencing certain mental distresses, you're still normal and it's okay to talk about how you feel. Great. But why do you need to throw your family under the bus to tell people that it's okay to talk about your mental distress? You could... All of us have gone through something when we were young, stressful in our lives that has impacted our lives, right? But the issue is not what caused it. The issue is how do you resolve it. That's what you should be, dealing with, not throwing your family on the bus. So I guess what's happened is that everybody knows your story, but they don't know. When I say your story, what happened to your mother, that you're a royal family, that you're, it's a hard life, blah 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 blah. You live in a fishbowl, but what they don't know is all the traumatic things that's happened to you when you were a little kid, how that all affected you. So they told you to be able to sell the story, you had to go deep and go wide and tell everything. Well, we don't need to know all that, because there's so many people out here suffering from COVID, the after effects of COVID, and just normal life. We don't have anywhere, and I'm not saying it because you're privileged that you don't have problems. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that we don't get on the internet or Apple TV or on Oprah and throw our family under the bus so you make people feel sorry for us, because that's not what you're doing. I see so many women say, oh, I feel so sorry for Harry. I feel so sorry for the two boys because they lost their mother. Yeah, okay, you can feel sorry how it happened. We can feel sorry for how it happened, but don't try to pull on our emotional strings to make money off of it. And then the third thing is you're making money off of your mother. You did not have to through all that. You did not have to talk about her. And as soon as this case comes out that Martin Bashir tricked your mother into doing an interview, which your wife is trying to copy and emulate the same thing she's doing. Oh, then you said it's because you're married to a black woman or a biracial woman, that is racial, and that the reason that the press was running behind your mother when she was dating Dodi Fayed was because she was dating somebody who was not white. Let me tell you something. I wasn't there, but I watched the news very closely during that time frame. And as far as I remember, the press was following, and paparazzi following your mother when your announcement that she was, even before they announced that she was engaged to your daddy. They were following her and tracking her then. It had nothing to do with the color. Maybe this was another part that they wanted to know, but that was not the reason they were chasing your mother down in that in the paparazzi. They just chased your mother. They just chased Diana because that's what they did, because she was new, she was glamorous, people wanted to know about her, people were so intrigued with her. So it didn't just start. If you say, well, nobody did it before until she started dating Dodi, I could say, okay, you're probably right. But for 15 years or whatever like that, when your mom, from the time she got engaged to the time she passed, she always had paparazzi following her. Always, always, always. So it had nothing to do with that day, had nothing to do with who she was dating. So for you to say that this is just like them chasing your mother because she was dating a non-white person, and that you're getting chased and Megan's being chased because she's not fully white, you got to be out of your mind to be saying something like that. Nobody believes that. And if they do, they need to go back and look into history, because everything is on the internet about Diana. So I'm sitting here listening to these outbreaks of his documentary, and I'm like, this boy is continually lying. So wherever he needs drama, he needs to sell a story, he needs to embellish his story, and he's still stuck on the fact that he thinks that his wife is the next Diana. No, nobody sees her that way but you, and that's because she told you. And it's like she's feeding you something and you're just eating it up. Talk about mental instability, codependency. That's what that is. So I watched it, and I think somebody had said, I am so happy William came first. And I am very happy too, because we can't have somebody like that. Everybody goes through trauma. I've gone through trauma. I was talking about my mother's passing away. Yeah, my mom's father was shot and killed when she was only 15 years old. And when he got shot by his own friends and went to court, and they were acquitted because nobody would tell on each other. And you know, back in the South, they didn't care about black people killing each other. Had nothing, you know, they didn't care. So for years she had to live with the fact that they knew who of the three people, one of them that was supposed to be his friend, shot him and let him die. They carried him to the hospital when he died. And at 15, she had a hard time with that, you know. You didn't have counselors and therapy back then. But you pushed through and you moved through, and yes, it impacted her on certain levels throughout her life, but she never complained about it. You know, what she did was she took her energy and she put it into her mother, into her relationship with my father, and her raising her children. And she was the oldest of all the daughter. She's the oldest girl of all the kids, so she was like number fourth child. So she became like more protective over them, but she did not hold a grudge. I mean, what she actually said as time went on is that they're all gonna, whoever did that to her father, and all the three who were there, who didn't even want to, whatever the other two didn't kill him or didn't shoot him, all of them were gonna get their due. Karma would come, and it did. And then they're all passed on. So my mom passed away 2 years away as well. So, but she never sat there and harbored this and threw her family under the bus. She didn't do that kind of stuff. That wasn't, I mean, you have to live with it and move on if you want to stay mentally tough. And you know, the thing about Harry is that he has had, so he claimed for many years, he had many years of counseling. So why is he now saying just because he's with Megan that he just got counseling? I mean, I don't understand it. So you ought to see, he said all the consistencies in his story. It's too many. So all this is about some money grab. I told y'all before in one of my readings, he's picking over his mother's bones. And I'm sorry it came out that way with the card reading, but he's picking over his mother's bones to make money and to get sympathy. And that is all it is. You want to show grace, you want to show maturity, you want to show healing, look at William. Because it was his mother too. But he came out there and he dealt with it on a mature level. He's not with the money grab. He's not talking about that. He's not even talking about cutting off the press. He says there should be a free and fair press. That's all it should be. He's not starting a war with him. And that's the way you handle stuff, because karma is going to take care of the rest. So I just wanted to just ping in today with you all and talk to you. Y'all have a great day, and I will be back probably tomorrow to do a reading. I always say that, right? But I think what's happening now, we need to talk a lot more about the situations that's going on right now. Oprah is an operative into destroying a lot of industries, a lot of wealthy people, a lot of high profile people. Michael Jackson, a couple of entertainers. Now she's going after the royal. And listen, y'all, she is not there to answer hard questions, because she's a part of this agenda to wreck and destroy the royal family. And y'all should see that by now. Because after the first interview, you could give her a little leeway, but she did not pushing on anything on this one. This agenda is real, people. So anyway, talk to you later. See you later. Bye.